So the big story of the day is, of course, Harry and Meghan. It's dominating everything, and it will go on doing so for a very long time. It seems in America that they're gaining a lot of support. People feel sorry for them. They've got what's called mover's advantage. They've got their side of the story out first. I'm not sure how the royal family are going to respond to this. They've been put in a very, very difficult spot. But you know, all of this was so predictable. I remember thinking at the time of the wedding, and I was doing some work for Fox News on the wedding. I remember thinking, why is Oprah Winfrey there? I mean, Meghan met her once. I think she planned a big Hollywood career on the back of being a princess right from the very word go, and that Harry was just too weak to deal with it. But just look at the accusations that are being made. Look at the charge against the royal family of racism. Now, everyone knows when a baby's on the way, there's always speculation. What will it look like? Who will he or she look like? What colour will their hair be? How big will they be? What will they weigh? I don't know whether somebody in the royal household made a comment about what the colour might be. I don't know the truth of that. I really honestly don't. But when Meghan was questioned on that, you know, did somebody in the royal household ask what colour the baby would be? She said, potentially. Either way, we won't know. But it is the slur of racism against the royal family which really upsets me. The Queen is coming up now for 70 years, not just as the Queen of our country, but head of the Commonwealth. She and the royal family have ceaselessly, over the decades, toured around the Commonwealth, something that has meant so much to them. The vast majority of the 2.3 billion people that live in the Commonwealth are Asian or black. You could argue the royal family have done more for people of colour than any other family or group of people in the world. So that charge, to me, just doesn't stand up. As for this whole business about mental health, about bullying, about being silenced, well, you know, she might have thought she was joining a soap opera, but she was joining the royal family. Maybe she thought she was going to replace Lady Di. Maybe she thought she was going to be the centre of all attention. But the idea that she has somehow been done down or discriminated against in any way is nonsense. The crowds that were there on the day of the royal wedding, the street parties that took place across the country, the media, it was wall to wall. Do you remember her going to Brixton? They were cheering, "We love you, Meghan." I can't think of anything, any negativity in the press at the time of their wedding. Sure, criticism followed. It always does if you're a public figure with the English tabloid press. That goes with the territory. But this all started because Harry and Meghan were lecturing us about climate change, about carbon emissions, whilst flying around the world in private jets. And that was when the criticism began. So off they went to Canada, to live in isolated Canada, because they didn't want the press speculation. Really? Well, now Harry's on the James Corden show. They're both appearing in a 2-hour special with Oprah Winfrey. If you haven't watched the CBS output last night, you can, if you wish, see it on ITV today. But it's all about victimhood. It's all about how badly they've been treated. And they are posing an enormous threat to the royal family, who are going to find it, as I said before, very tough to answer some of these negatives. I kind of grew up thinking that Edward VIII, Wallis Simpson, these were really bad people. And yet, when you look at it, you know, they were interviewed, big sit down in their house in Paris in about 1970, and both of them were loyal to the crown, did not say disobliging things about it to their dying day, despite the fact they were treated very, very harshly indeed. So we need to get the word out in America. I've been trying a bit today on some American media channels that this is one side of a story and that actually they behaved badly. And as for Harry, well, whatever my criticisms are of Meghan, they are nothing as compared to how I feel about Prince Harry. To publicly betray members of your own family in front of the world's media the way that he has done is, I think, nothing short of being absolutely despicable. And when he says, oh, my father wasn't promising us lots of money, well, of course not, because he wasn't prepared to go on doing the job. The most damning thing that I've heard about Prince Harry is there he was, Captain General of the Royal Marines. And on the day there was a Royal Marine event, a fundraising event, where was he? In Leicester Square, talking to the boss of Disney, Bob Iger, and overheard saying to Eisner, my wife would like some voiceover work. So don't talk to us about duty being universal. We saw a better sense of duty, I think, from the Queen talking about Commonwealth Day, which of course is today. I think the time has come to strip them of their royal titles. They are clearly intent on, number one, destroying the monarchy, and number two, making themselves as bigger stars, as bigger leaders of the woke revolution in America and the rest of the world. It's a very, very sad day for this country. I have no sympathy for either of them whatsoever. She must have known what she was getting into. He was born into a life of privilege. I know it was an awful thing to lose his mother in such a public way at that young age. But if we destroy the monarchy, we destroy something very special about this country. I think that's what they're intent on doing. And I'm going to do my best over the next week to try and get that counter-argument put out there into America. The idea that the British royal family are racist after all they've done for the Commonwealth is, frankly, beneath contempt.